What's up guys, Sam Wild here from Guitar Legend. Today I'm going to be talking to you about moving from acoustic guitar to electric guitar. Should you do it? When should you do it? And what is the difference between the two? Alright, there might be some of you watching right now, you're playing the acoustic guitar, you've done it for a while, and you're considering, do I get an electric guitar? But maybe you're like, well, I used to think, it's like, but why would I need one? Why go to electric guitar? Is it harder? Is it a step up? What? I'm getting a lot out of my acoustic. Do I need an electric? What's the difference? So let me just kind of explain all of that right now. All right. So I started on acoustic. I got quite good at playing chords, right? And by the way, chords are harder to play on an acoustic guitar almost every time because you have to push in the strings harder, all right? So you get stronger wrist muscles and stronger fingers. So it's a blessing in disguise if you have started on the acoustic, because then when you go to the electric, it's so much easier, all right? Now, the thing is, going from acoustic to electric, in my opinion, is a step up because it's a more versatile instrument. There's so much to do, and we'll get into that. But do bear in mind, there are acoustic guitarists out there who make their living just from acoustic guitars, right? For example, Andy McKee. Some of you may have heard of Andy McKee. You can YouTube him. He does incredible rhythmic stuff. Bear in mind, the acoustic has a rhythmic body. You can tap it, right? You can still create all these rhythmic effects with the acoustic guitar, and it sounds great on its own. Okay, so, you know, you can take the acoustic to this new level, but it involves more rhythmical things, in my opinion, or, you know, really extensive classical training. There's a few things you can do on the acoustic, but the electric guitar is still a step up, in my opinion, okay? There's so much you can do with the electric. If you want to be a guitarist, then electric guitar's the way to go. Let's say you're a singer-songwriter, so someone like Ed Sheeran who writes songs, you only need some basic chords, right? So an acoustic is fine. If you just want to write songs, then you just need to maybe learn some basic music theory, learn how your chords work, and acoustic's fine. You need to take up the electric guitar, okay? For sure, there's so many things you can do on there. For example, you can plug it into an amplifier, which you can do with an acoustic, but with an electric guitar, there's so much versatility with your sound, right? You can have a clean sound, crunchy sound, fully distorted solo sound. You can have a pedal board full of different effects, flanger, chorus, delay, reverb, etc., right? You don't tend to do that with the acoustic. Okay, you tend to do it with the electric because it's just a raw signal that can be manipulated in any way you want. Right? You can do bends on the electric guitar. Bends on the acoustic is practically unheard of. Right? On the electric, easy. You can do bends. It's a new sound. You can play extremely fast on the electric guitar because it tends to be easier to play on the electric. Okay, scalar stuff, you can play faster. It's easy. Everything, it just seems to be easier on the electric. In my opinion, you've got tapping, right? You've got your soloing. You can do some rock solo, jazz solo, some just nice melodic pop solo. You can get all these cool sounds. There's so much to learn with the electric. When I play all my gigs, when I get paid to play, I would say 90% of them I use electric guitar. And then the other 10%, I get asked to do maybe like an acoustic gig where we just walk around, strumming some chords, singing some pop songs, you know, that sort of thing. You know, the acoustic guitar still has its place, but the electric guitar is so versatile. If you want to be in a rock band or a big pop band or a function band, right? The electric guitar just takes it to a new level. So essentially, in a nutshell, if you're watching this right now and you think, you know what, I would love to be a guitarist, like a professional guitarist that makes money from being a guitarist, then trust me, take up the electric guitar and learn as much as you can. Learn all the techniques, learn some music theory, learn seventh chords, ninth chords, extension chords, dominant seventh chords, right? Alter chords. Learn crazy different ways to play all these chords, right? Learn how to do sliding melodies, learn how to play your scales horizontally and vertically. Open string pull-offs, right? Learn how to do bends, learn how to play blues, learn your shapes. There's so much to learn. Intervals, fourths, fifths, sixths, sevenths, thirds, right? Horizontally, vertically. I mean, I could go on all day. And by the way, I teach a lot of this on my website. So if you go to the link below, guitarlegend.co.uk, if you sign up to that, it starts with lessons that work on acoustic and electric, but there's a soloing course. The soloing course is for the electric guitar, primarily, okay? You can still solo on the acoustic. There are plenty of techniques in that course that work on the acoustic. But if you get yourself an electric guitar, then as I said before, it just opens up new avenues. It's just more versatile. Everything becomes a bit easier. Now, it's quite scary when you buy your first electric guitar because you think, which one do I go for? How do you know which amp to buy and how do you know which guitar to buy? It's tricky. Do you go expensive? Do you go cheap? Right? Let me tell you guys, the guitar that I use for my gigs only cost me £200 to £300, right? And then I paid a guitar engineer to just set up the fretboard for another £50, say. And that was it. I've used it for years and years and years. I've done hundreds of gigs with it. It sounds great. Right, you don't have to spend big on electric, but I would also advise don't go super cheap unless you have to. Right, so if you have a very low budget, then a cheap guitar is better than no guitar, right? And what you'll find is, even though it's a cheap guitar, when you get a better guitar, you'll find it really easy to play because you've been playing with a difficult guitar, right? So it's not a bad thing. If you get a cheap guitar, it's not a bad thing, but you don't have to go super expensive, I promise you that. In terms of amplifiers, it's very hard for me to suggest one because a lot of it's down to opinion, all right? So in my opinion, I like the sound of Fender amps. I like the sound of orange amps. I'm not talking about the color, even though they are orange. The brand is called Orange. So Fender amps I like orange amps. Surprisingly, just for little practice amps, I quite like Line 6, so the Spider 315. It's quite a nice amp to practice with because it has lots of different effects. So before you start getting into pedals, before you get your pedal board, it's a good way of testing out different effects like delay, flanger, phaser, reverb, tape delay, stereo delay. You know, that kind of thing is included on the amp, and that's always handy. And there's clean, crunch, distortion, drive, gain, channel volume, master volume. You can save presets. The Line 6s are quite good for beginners, all right? Even though I'm not a big fan of the digital sound, they have done it well, I have to admit. Now, if you have a music shop nearby, when you buy your electric guitar and your amp, the best thing to do is just try different guitars out, different amps out, just play through them, see which one you like the best, all right? Because a lot of it's opinion, which one sounds nice to you, which guitar feels right to you, which one also looks nice to you, okay? But don't get the guitar that looks flashy and sounds rubbish. Please do not do that. Find a happy medium. A happy medium, it's like a car. Don't just get the car that looks nice, right? Get the car that's also quite economical, that's comfortable, that can fit in your gear, whatever might be in your life that you need from a car. It's the same thing with a guitar, right? You want it to look nice, but at the same time, don't sacrifice the sound. Don't sacrifice for cheapness just because you want like an X guitar or a rainbow colored guitar. All right, make sure it sounds nice and it feels good to play as well.